Guys, welcome back. Obviously, one of the main goals of this channel is to try and improve as a cyclist and pass on some of that information to you. But how do I really know that I'm improving in the outside world when I spend so much time training indoors? So I thought it was about time, seeing as it's almost the end of the year, to give myself a bit of a fitness test. Cue the Quarry Wood Climb, and I struggle to say that. Quarry Wood Climb. So it's 0.67 of a mile and it's 80 meters of elevation. It's reasonably short. It's an all out, for me, close to 3-minute effort. I started doing it last year. First time I actually did it as a bit of a challenge. Took me 3 minutes 15, then I got it down to 3:11, and then the last time I did it I did 3:02, and then the last time I did it, which was in July, I did 2:58. So I finally broke that 3-minute barrier. But it's an all-out 3-minute effort up the climb. I actually don't have a power meter on my bike, so hold or bear with me as we do a bit of bro maths or bro science. Basically, if you look at the long list of people on Strava who are around about my time, and I've kind of narrowed this down to men only, so it's kind of more relevant to people that might be roughly in my weight bracket, you can kind of see that most people that kind of get that 2:58 mark or that 3-minute mark are around 370 watts, there or thereabouts. There's a couple of people below, a couple of people above. And obviously, I'm not going to go into everyone's profiles and try and ask them what their weight is or figure that out. So this is very rough estimate. So for me, I'm kind of, I'm 76 and a bit kg. I imagine most cyclists kind of who are doing around about that time might be a couple of kg either side. So as a rough estimate, we're looking at 370 odd watts. And I hope that's a justifiable way to figure this out, because it's the only way we can do it. My next bike does have a power meter on, and I cannot wait to get that up and running next year. Anyway, back to the climb itself. Obviously, back when I did it in July, you can see some of my Zwift races here, and I was Cat C. I was putting out roughly between 2.9 to 3.1 watts per kg in most races. So nothing crazy. But since then, and that was the time that I did my 2:58. That was the time that I set the record that I've got at the moment. Since then, I've obviously improved. I've worked really hard. And now I'm doing races in Cat B, and we've jumped all the way up to 3.7 to 3.9 watts per kg for some of these races. And I'm pretty sure that soon enough I will be touching that magic 4 watts per kg mark as an average for some races. And I cannot wait to do that. That's my next goal. So it kind of gives you an idea of roughly how I've improved in terms of the Zwift racing and the training that I've been doing. But I wanted to put this into a practical application and a real world application. So we're going to tackle the Quarry Wood Climb. As I said, the goal to beat is 2:58, and it should be, it's 80 meters of elevation, and it should be just like a hard, fast effort. So let me dive into this and talk you through it. We're down in Marlow. It's taken me about 20 minutes to get here. Hopefully I have given you all the spiel, and I'm going to talk you through the climb as we do it now. So Quarry Wood Road Climb, end of year fitness test. Let's call it that. So I did a bit of recon on this ride, and as you see, it's a nice flat run in to the hill itself, and the hill's obviously quite short, but you want a really fast start. It's a really sharp right-hander, so all that speed that you carry into the start of the climb, you have to carry through the corner. That's something that I struggle with a little bit. The guy that holds the CR for this has a 2 minutes 04. It's insane, but he hits this corner at over 30 miles an hour. When he did it, I just about hold on to 25 miles an hour. Now this first section I actually do quite well in. My gearing was pretty much spot on, changed at the right point, and then just put the hammer down up to the first corner. I have a buddy who I did the London Ride London with, and he is a big unit, puts out a lot of watts. He holds the highest average wattage for this climb at over 600 watts for the whole 2.5 minutes that it took him to do it. And we were kind of reasonably matched over the first section of this course. But as soon as we get to the corner or just before the corner, that's where I start flagging. Basically, Paris decided to call me just miraculously, and so my Garmin flashes up with Paris calling me. I miss my gear changes, and then by the time I got to the corner, I wasn't in the right gear, and you can kind of hear that I'm struggling a little bit with the cadence. And it's not something I can actually show you, but I wasn't turning the legs over very quickly and I was struggling a little bit. And this is where I lose basically time and I waste too much effort trying to churn out some kind of really way too heavier gear movements for this part of the climb. It's at this section after the corner where Scott just melts off into the distance. This second part is the longest section of the climb. It's a series of 3 corners, the bottom corner, the middle corner, and then the top corner. And we are basically sectioning between the middle corner and the top corner now. It's the longest section of the climb, and it's kind of reasonable. The highest gradient for the climb is about 15%, which we've done, which was the tough part on the corner. And now we go into this straight section. My biggest issue was just I chose the wrong gear. By the time I sorted it out and took the pressure off my chain and dropped it into the correct gear, my legs were kind of just like burnt up a little bit. I wasn't worrying about it too much. Hammer down, up to the top. Once we get to the top corner, obviously there is a bit of a runoff to this climb, so you basically have to go round the top corner and then scream into a sprint. Getting close to the top corner, my plan was just kick when you can. Actually felt really good, and I put a lot of effort into trying to maintain a solid effort rather than just absolutely hammering it. I think that paid off. We come around the top corner, we do a few gear changes, we kick in, maybe not as hard, but I actually don't think you're going to lose or make time on that flat section too much because it's flat. I think the point to make up time has been and gone. So we get to the finish, I click through at a lovely 2:52 with a 6-minute PR. So I think it's quite cool that you can actually see how much I've improved since putting a bit more effort into taking this a lot more seriously and coming away with a 2:52, which is 6 seconds, not 6 minutes, 6 seconds quicker than my previous time. Kind of leaves, I felt like there was it wasn't the perfect kind of run. I don't really want to put too much effort into doing it multiple times. I'm definitely going to save it for next year. Just trying to continue the training and continue improving. Now, if you look at my result, I'm 166th out of the almost 18,000 riders who have registered times on the Quarrywood climb. Funnily enough, I'm actually 1 place above my friend Ben, who I've known since I was a kid. He's done a 2:53. Now, he held 388 watts when he did it back in 2015. I know for a fact that I'm probably a bit heavier than him, not a huge amount. Some of the other guys are up over that 400 watt mark. And again, so I'd probably imagine that my watts for this one was around the 400 or maybe just over mark when it comes to my effort, which I'm pretty happy with. I know that I could definitely beat that, or I would like to think I could definitely beat that if I gave it another kind of run and put a bit more effort into kind of doing it properly and things like getting a faster run in. Putting the effort and sorting my gear changes around the first corner was definitely an issue that kind of, I think, just messed with my time a little bit and meant that I didn't quite do as well as I should have. But it is nice to see that all the training is actually paying off, and that kind of training also has real world practical applications. And I've left a little bit of wiggle room in there for when I go back out in the spring on my new bike with my power meter and actually lay down what I would probably hope to be an even faster time and get a little bit closer to my buddy Scott, who is 2:32. And it worries me how much better I have to be to get to that stage. But anyway, guys, I hope that was useful. I hope you found it interesting. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think, and I will see you guys on the next one.